Welcome all, welcome back to OPPC, Optimum Performance PC, brought to you by myself, Seb Luca, otherwise known as Sebastian Lucas. And if you're new to the channel, you know what to do. So hit that bell button, like and or subscribe, and let's get into the newest unboxing video. So what do we have today for you all? Well, it's to my right, and it is produced by, I believe, Aula or Aula. I hope I'm not mutilating the name. That will be something chronic. It's an F-X5 Black Edition gaming mouse pad. So the box is to your right there, and she is pretty nifty and wasn't extremely expensive on a comparison level to other mouse pads of this current size with this functionality available for me to pick up. So as a result, I thought, why not give it a go? What could go wrong? My mouse mats were getting pretty tatty. I've got two of them and I need two new ones. I didn't have too much collateral regarding expenditure on these mouse mats, so I honestly didn't want to be spending more than, you know, $60 to $100 tops. That's Australian dollars, and keeping that in mind, they needed to be quite large to fit the surface area of exposure I need them to cover. So without a moment's further ado, let us get into the unboxing of this interesting looking mouse mat or mouse pad. On the outside, it's pretty standard. It's rolled up obviously to minimize the exposure and or any crinks or creases in it, and it's got like a sort of a brush feeling for those box lovers slash gloss feeling on the mouse mat itself. I hope it's not reflective like this in that regards, but it could be an interesting product if it was, what sort of material you'd be using. But also we'll go through the feature set of this mouse pad or mat, depending on how you say. I would prefer to say mouse mat, considering it is of a set size that is going to both cover the keyboard as well as the mouse. So again, the model number or the range from Aula, depending on where you are in the world, is F-X5. RGB, of course, we can't go without that. It doesn't mean it needs to be on all the time. USB 2.0 requirements. Size, as of specs, I'm under the impression is 800 millimeters in length or width and 300 millimeters in depth. That is the smallest extra large that I was willing to take, but the RGB component on top of this, pending and in regards to the price, was the driving force that brought me to grab that rather than a slightly more extra large mouse mat. Now I'm hoping that the quality itself is on par with at least a standard mouse mat. I'm not a pro gamer anymore in any means, but I do require something that is, you know, will allow for a set amount of accuracy pertaining to the mouse, as well as some glide speed, and that's more so that the pads of my mouse don't wear out too excessively, too quickly, or whatsoever, if possible, to mitigate, as well as accuracy pertaining to something that isn't too slidey, just because of the fact that when I'm doing thumbnails, when I'm doing artwork of such, even video rendering, sometimes more precision is required, and precision fatigue is what I'll call it. I tend to get over time, and if there's some sort of uneven surface, then it definitely exhausts my hand in that regards, trying to be as precise as possible. So the size 800 by 300 millimeters from my understanding, and we'll check all this. The cord length is 1.8 meters in length, so it's not a short cord by any means. definitely not a long one otherwise, but should be sufficient to get to even, like, say, the bottom end of the back of a desk. USB removable cord as well, so that's something to consider, especially if you don't plan to have the RGB component active at the time. And because of this, it seems to have at least a black design, which is minimalistic in my sense. And because of that, it's not going to be overly obtrusive in any way, shape or form. You know, black is cool. Once you have black, you can't go back, and unless you go white build, then you go back to white. But it won't get as dirty. From my understanding, it's not advertised as machine washable. Probably the RGB component associated with that and the circuitry board involved there. There's a little one attached from my understanding. It's plug and play. It has 14 modes, 7 colors, so it's not like 16.9 million colors, but beggars can't be choosers for the price. And it's got a rubber base as well as, from my understanding, a microfiber surface that is both, I think it actually says sturdy, I don't know what exactly that means pertaining to it, but also 1.8 millimeters in thickness. According to the specs on the box, that's what it says. According to the shop that advertised it, they specified 2 millimeters. I didn't notice the difference until I got home. Now, keeping that in mind, I've actually secretly got the other mouse mat or mouse pad of this variety already on the desk itself, running behind me just on the generic default RGB component. That seems to cycle through a couple of cycles and sprawls through, as you can see it. But we're going to unbox the other one over here, which I need to place into this position over here. So I'm going to put another keyboard here, just a small one, a backup, because I do use the MX Keys keyboard from Logitech, produced by Logitech, as well as your MX Master 3 mouse. And they are a wireless combo which can be integrated into multiple systems without having to have additional peripherals on hand, providing you can get it to work. And we do also have a review to this and an unboxing available at OPPC, so please don't hesitate if you're interested in something like that to check out our other videos available, as well as guides, in-depth reviews, comparison videos, unboxing, builds, and other tech related news. Links are in the description below as well. So like I said, if you're new to the channel, you know what to do. And let's get into the unboxing. So you've heard the specs and whatnot. What do we got here? We just got a little nip. We'll go on the bottom side. It's sort of like really crappy tape. I'd have to say the actual, you know, it's not one of those ones that you can, even though the box has sort of got that brush finish, that it's not a completely cheap tardy box from the ink and that. I wouldn't say that you can peel this. It's going to rip the box to shreds in the process. With that in mind, let us just unclip that. And we should, without ripping the box too much off, get that out. And nothing too flash in regards to this. I have unboxed one of these already. Just bring it out, put your hand underneath here just in case there's something that'll fall out. Okay, there is a couple of items, and bang, I'll pop that over here. We will pop the box back aside. There's nothing else in the box, and yeah, if you open it from the bottom side, if you have a problem with it, then ultimately you can probably take it back to the shop if you want to exchange it without any like sort of repackaging fee or anything like that, you know, being active or activated even. If they suggest that, then you perhaps can debate it. It's like, look dude, yeah, it's packaged in there, you just need to put a sticker sort of on it. You know what I mean? So some places will do that, they'll accept an item return, but they'll be like, but there's a repackaging fee, and it's like, yeah, I don't know about that one. Was it like 20% of the value of the item or some shit? You know what I mean? Like, I've heard that before. I think it's ridiculous. But yeah, you know, it makes sense if the box is completely broken and all useless. So I'll take it out of its slip. I'll pop that there as well again. And what we're left in the bag itself that it comes in, that it's neatly packaged in, is your 1.8 meter micro USB cable to USB-A 2.0 only requirement. Doesn't mean you can't put in the 3, 3.1, 3.2, but yeah, it only requires a 2.0, so one of those on your back IO will suffice for front. Any old school peripherals or stuff with additional ports or any additional ports. Also, because it is not controllable, RGB in that regards in any software from my understanding, you can put it, say, to a spare port that's anywhere else associated with your computer where you're using it, like say the motherboard ports or the the monitor ports, I beg your pardon, or the back of a television or something like that. And you probably find that if you're running low, that's probably the best bet, providing the cable can be tucked away nicely. Now, I've straightened out that cable just a little bit because it will need some teasing to get it into the position I need, and more so I'll show you the example of that with the one that's behind me. You can probably see it right now. But coming from that, as you can see, nothing else inside the mouse mat itself. You can see that there's a circuitry part aspect of it. Just be gentle with this mouse mat. Don't try to, oh yeah, there is your little manual. Wind F-X5 gaming mouse pad. English, Portuguese, Chinese, Espanol, Deutsch, Italian, Russian, something I'm not 100% sure about, and Indonesia, which means Indonesian. So if we do double check it quickly here, just have a quick look through. 4.75 volts at the 12 volt requirement, 800 by 300 millimeters. Again, reiterating the specs. Working temperature suggested is 0 to negative 40 Celsius, thank God. Does that say negative 40? No, or is it 0 dash to 40 Celsius? Because if it's 40 Celsius, we will have an issue in this room. Working humidity, on the other hand, is 10 to 60%. Again, I vape in this room, so that might be an issue. Storage temperature, negative 20 to 70 degrees. I don't know, like... Anyway, so you got your light switch button, your removable USB, and your lighting effects. For this mouse pad or mat, now if we have a look here, it isn't the most impressive bit of ingenuity. That's where if we grab that, so you can just see that all there is there is a, hopefully, fairly clicking button, so that's good. On the back side of it, you can see, feel the rubber natural, so that's good. It's going to grip, hopefully. And also you can see the model number again, and something that probably, in case of the circuitry itself, slash, it's like almost a borderline a sticker attached to it, rather than actually being anything too drastic or like a masterpiece of ingenuity. But look, what we want to essentially find out is, for the price, whether it will roll out flat, for starters. So we'll put it in its place it's going to go. I'll just move this back across here, and pretty much like so. Over this gap here to cover that, because this is an old sort of office desk. It does the job for the space. It's perfect, as you can see. It hits every marker. Gives me some extra storage down there, plenty of leg room underneath here, another couple of shelves there, and depth for a large monitor here. As you can see on the angle over here, we've initiated the other mouse mat or pad, and that's 30 centimeters depth just there. So you can see there's another 40 centimeters to the plasma, to the QLED, which we have over here running. And yeah, it's very good for my line of sight. I'd probably say ideally a monitor should be at eye level, top side, but with something like this for immersion purposes, if it's not a widescreen, if it's not a 3-panel setup like I had before, it's very good for real estate space at the 4K, with another 4K over here for both computers, and an additional monitor here which I've got on a switch depending on where I need it more. So keeping that in mind, people, there is actually a review coming out pertaining to that monitor directly behind me, which I've recently acquired, and an unboxing video as well before the review will be launched. They should be ready at the same time and subsequently launch one after the other within a day's time or day's period of time from each other. So that's something to consider if you're after a budget-friendly orientated QLED display. But as you can see, the vibrancy to this in comparison to its what is now, well, this is the predecessor in essence in technology as well, to an LED display that's 4K. Both these monitors are 50-inch, and I don't know if you can see the contrast different in vibrancy from this one to this one over here. This one hasn't been completely calibrated since I got this one. This one went to the other computer. I can get some deeper darks on this still, but in essence there is a night and day difference, isn't there? On top of that, this one doesn't even have the daylight on it. The daylight, as you can see, is coming from behind it, so it's not really an excuse for it to have a duller color in any way, shape or form. On the other hand, just to elaborate a little more before we double check this mouse mat, the QLED is a marvel of ingenuity, quantum dot technology. It's just basically an extra layer on top of the LED panel itself, the backlight, and it allows for higher contrast essentially without as much blooming, and it's really good in a very effectively lit room. You can still see the colors and the vibrancy, and quite decent in a dull lit room. Also in a dull lit room, you can have the opportunity of lowering certain features and like the backlight, which would save you on power long term. So it's something to consider when, say, OLEDs on the other hand are the other option as well, and they are very, very pricey indeed. They have benefits, pros and cons to both. But for that analysis video, for that unboxing, for further information about it, if you're interested, hit the like button and or subscribe to OPPC and I guess some tech to be notified once that drops, and check out some of our other videos. In the meantime, people, we appreciate all the support. It's a free way to do so. Show your support, and as a result, we are truly grateful. So back to the mouse mat or pad at hand. Look, thank God, because now to give you a rundown, the microfiber feels more like cloth, frankly. There is actually a graphic on this. It doesn't look black when you look at it. If I turn the lights on to a lighter color white or off-white, depending on what I'm feeling like, you would see it much more drastically. If I take it up to the camera itself, because I won't move the cameras now, there you go, guys. So it's like a blue. I put what would have been grey with a little graphic there, Aula, which looks like a Krabby Patty. Is it a crab? I don't know. Let me double check. It looks like it's a crab. It's not a scorpion. No, it's a spider. It's a spider. Thank God it's a spider, because I thought a crab was just interesting, you know. At least for me, as a iconic sort of a thing. But it is meant to be a gaming mouse mat, and we're just going to go about plugging in now the RGB component of it. I can't complain about this. I'm sure it'll flatten out completely within time. There's a little bit over here which seems to be sticking up. Keeping that in mind, if we have a look at the other one of this mouse mat or pad, we've got the same actual problem over here on the lip part, which you can't exactly see. You can perhaps see it on the other angle that we've got with the lower camera to your right. But if you can't just trust, it's slightly like you have to, it's a couple mil up and it just won't relax itself down. I've tried to manipulate it, but the point is, if doing so, you're probably not recommended to bend the LED strip too excessively, because you will break potentially a light. Now, to reiterate, we've got a couple of these already. That's why I'm going about the process of also connecting this per se live, because I've already been back to the shop once. I tell you, I've been back to the shop once pertaining to one of these, returned, and that's because so that just clicks in like so. Make sure that the teeth on it, which you'll notice, are facing upwards. You think it'd be facing downwards, because it's a micro USB cable. If you put it in the wrong way, you'll stuff the port up, and the port itself isn't the best type of port I would recommend regarding this. It's not going to have longevity, but realistically, you're either going to be running it with it or running it without it. You don't have to charge it or anything, so it's going to be in or out and rarely ever used. So make sure the first time you put it in, you put it in properly. Okay, now we're going to take this back, and I'm going to find a spare port for it, because the purpose of this is to find out whether all the lights are functioning correctly. And if it works on the top, you'll notice instantaneously if one of the lights is cracked or broken, because there will be like a speck, regardless of what color's going through it. There'll be like a speck inside the actual lighting arrangement on the lip, and as you can see here, there are no specks because of the reflection of it. Hopefully you can, depending on the lighting, there's no speck, and it's just, again, a night or day thing. It's like having a pixel broken on your smaller televisions. In a certain set lighting, you always notice it. On this, on the other hand, it'll attract your attention straight away. So without a moment's further fuss, don't hesitate in plugging it in, even if you plan not to use it, because one day in the future you might find out that it's broken and it might be too late to return to the shop and get it exchanged. There was no problem with the exchange process at the shop I was at, so I was happy about that. But if this one's damaged, I'm going to be annoyed, because again, I got this on special, okay, and for the price I'm very happy with it, providing this one's also not damaged. Okay, I spent about $29 for each of these Australian dollars, where otherwise they were advertised at $55 and dropped because of the sale. Get me? So at $55 on the other hand, from my experience already with these in comparison to other mats available, I would have probably gone without the RGB component. And as you can see over here, I've got a slightly larger mat, still a 900 by 4, okay, and hopefully got the similar version of that, or the same version, a drop down in size, to the 8x3 over here, okay, and played around with that. But those options did not present themselves at the shop I was shopping at because of the sale. Everything was out of stock, and you had to grab what you could, and this is what was left on the table in some ways and aspects. But like I said, for the price, pretty impressive so far. Okay, so I've just plugged that in. I've just plugged that into the back port there on the television, and bang, she's lit. You can see the fact that it's slightly higher here as well. I'll just give it a slight tease, just like a tease and a caress, to see whether that fixed that part there. I'll do the same on this side, and this one's probably better, the best one of the three straight out of the box, frankly. So I've lucked out on that, which means that maybe with the same caress here, she's completely flat now. So she's going to replace the everyday one instantaneously, I think. As you can see, all the lights are completely fine, and regardless of the angle, you'll see it as it's working. We'll give it a click. Blue from red, green, and yeah, if the light works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. They do cycle through RGB lights, obviously. Red, green, blue in that sense. We've got a pink here. The pink's really nice actually. It looks a lot wider on camera there. Again, this side's a little up as well, so I'm going to just caress it down like that. You don't want to bend it at the 90, but we'll see if that works, and it's completely flat. So out of the box, decent little mat. I'm very happy now. I was hoping, I just got a couple of crappier ones in the line, and I had some bad luck, I guess. But this one, on the other hand, is perfecto, aqua or something like that. That looks really nice in the lights. Really does suit, frankly. I like it. But let's continue on. What else have we got? Yellow, cool. And because it's black and blue, but the blue is sort of an accent, it's really unobtrusive. We've got a white there. The white might be good, and here we go into RGB mode. So as it cycles through, that's pretty impressive for the price, frankly. There's a couple more RGB modes which are available. There's like a waveform slash, it's a slight wave slash in and out through the cycles of those colors that we've just gone through, plus it seems a couple of other sort of colors, which are the ranges in between those colors themselves to get you there, according to this. It's a shame you can't stop it on one of those ranges by just pressing another button that pauses it, and it's that. Otherwise, you've got sectored one that flashes and that gives off pulsate and changes. Another version of that pulsates and changes with other colors, and then to off. So back to on again. On is back to the red, and we're back to the start. So I'm going to probably go to teal or aqua, because Aquaman is that's a complete and utter green, like razor green with the black. No one will know the difference unless you know. Pink, but for lighting's sake, we'll go a little bit different. That'll look neon-y in the night and illuminate lots. So real cool, guys. Real cool. In fact, you can see that color is almost there, but this is through a cycling version of that. I'm going to see with that technique I just developed, whether that tease will fix this side here. It just did. Lol. Let's try that again on this side here, and these might be completely flat. It just did. So I've just developed a new technique, and that's how it's gonna fix it if it's slightly out of whack. If it doesn't, it's perfect now, guys. It's completely perfect. Both are great for the price. I retract what I said earlier, apart from the damaged one that need replacing. And if you shop at a good shop, it should never be an issue. We're gonna go take this, pass back to red, blue, green, pink, and aqua. So there we go. Is that, maybe that needs a little more teasing. So it's because of the type of sort of you know, it's the manufacturing process of this LED strip, but it allows you to have it completely flat. It's almost like a locking mechanism that's so small you don't notice, and that allows it to bend but retract back, I guess, to become flat. So look at that, guys. I'm super stoked. So you've got a full-size keyboard again here, and plenty of room with your game bar to swipe left and right, as you can see. I'll probably put that a little bit further there, but honestly, if you're a big mover of the mouse, like look at that slides a little bit, so if you're a big mover of the mouse itself, I would suggest getting a slightly larger mouse pad specifically for your mouse if you're not worried about keyboard or anything like that. If you're inclined for something soft for cushioning of the wrist, definitely higher than this. This is 1.8 millimeters in thickness. You probably want something like 4 millimeters in thickness. Okay, understand that these things will detract from the value by increasing the cost, meaning you probably won't get an RGB component to it. But on feeling, for me personally, it's going to provide the control I need, but it's not going to cause the actual mouse pads to wear out too quickly, as opposed to the desk and whatnot. But to reiterate, on a technicality, it's the best thing you'll probably get for the cheapest price, but only if it's on sale. Okay, so this is our F-X5 extra large mouse pad mat unboxing video, and in the end I think probably a thorough review for what it is. Yeah, give it 2 thumbs up. Value and aesthetics all rolled into one, or unrolled in this case. Peace out, guys.